Hi guys, so I have some super special news. So if you remember back, we sent germs off to the high school. You guys drew your own germ and it was created into a pillow. So finally, those hardworking high schoolers have finished creating our germs and we'll get to see some of them now. Here's what the process looked like. They took your images that you drew and they tried their best to create their own germ out of felt and cloth, and they used a technique called sewing to put it all together. Here's some images of our high school friends hard at work creating your germ soft sculptures. In the next slide, I'm going to show you a video message from the high schoolers just to us, and I want to make sure that everyone is at voice level 0 so that we can hear it.
Hi, Christie Elementary. We are
Clark High School.
And we've spent the last 3 weeks making your germs. They're so cute. Remember, not all germs are bad for you. Some are good, but the bad germs like to make you sick. So be sure to wash your hands, all right? Woo!
Before we begin today, I want you to trade with one person. It could be to the side of you, it could be across from you. What you're gonna do is you're going to point out to one person one area that you wish you could change and maybe one area that you like. So we're gonna talk about two things. One area you like and then one area you wish you could change. Let's go ahead and switch and then give me a thumbs up once you've talked. So before we finally finish today, I know that most of you are done, some of you are still working. That's okay. If you still need to paint, we will have time. We must fill out this assessment first. So you should have walked in, you should have picked up a pencil, you should have picked up your artwork, and you should have picked up this assessment right here. So an assessment means that you're basically grading yourself. So what we will do, and you can do this with me, but this has to be done today. The first thing it asks is for the artist. Well, guess who the artist is? The artist is you. So I'm gonna write Mr. Boatfield because that's my name. This is where you will put your name. And then you also get to title your work. So you get to name your work, just like someone names a book or they names a poem. You have to name your artwork. I am going to title this Android Teacher. So I'm gonna write Android. Spelling is not important today. Android Teacher. And down here it asks you what tools you use. So I know we use paper, so I'll circle that. We use paint, but we also used water, so we need to draw some water. So I'll draw a little cup, and then I will write water. So look through these options. If there's anything that I didn't think of, maybe like a paintbrush or a paper towel, placemat, you'll need to write down here. Remember, spelling is not important. This is one of the important questions. It says, I learned I can. Now this is a sentence stem, so it doesn't have to be a complete sentence, but you need to complete that thought. So we're gonna take 10 seconds now to just think of something that you learned from this project. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I decided I would put, I learned I can use shapes to make my portrait look like a robot. And then I added a period because that's the end of the sentence. Yours could be anything that you learned. You learned you could use watercolor paints. You learned that you could draw a face. You learned about proportion. It could be anything. Here's another important one. This is questions I asked. Now this could be a question that you asked out loud. It could be, how do we use the paint, or how do I make my color darker? It also could be a question that you kept to yourself. It could be, I wonder why robots can think for themselves. How do they do that? That could be your question. So this is up to you. So one question I asked while doing this project was, how can a robot think for itself? And I don't have the answer, but I can maybe look it up later. So I'm gonna write this down here, and I wrote my question. Now, this one is gonna be totally up to you. You have to write one thing you're proud of. So there's a sentence stem. It says, I'm proud of blank. So it could be your color. It could be your lines. It really could be anything. So I'm proud of the way my colors mix because there's some areas where I love how the colors kind of mix together. That's my favorite part. So I decided to put I'm proud of the way my colors mixed. Once you are done with that, I need you to raise your hand so that I can check it, and then I'll give you permission to get a glue stick from the middle table. You'll take the cap off, turn it over, and then I usually give it a big old outline of glue on the outsides, and then I do an X in the middle, and that should be enough glue. What we're gonna do is we're gonna glue it to the back of our portrait, just like this, and then of course give it a nice massage. And then where do we put things that have glue on it? I hope you said drying rack. So once I'm done, you don't have to ask me. You're going to take the cap, put it back on the glue stick. You'll take it with you, put this on the middle table, and then you'll take this, you'll follow the green arrows all the way around and put it on the drying rack. So that's your job today, is to get that done. Now, if you still need to paint today, that's okay. We'll have some time to do that. Let's go over our painting expectations now. Now, when you're painting, you can use any color. I even used yellow for my hair. I know that my hair isn't yellow, but it's close enough to blonde. So what I did was I dip, let it drip, and then I swirl around the paint. Now, that's pretty bright lemonade yellow. I think I'm going to dip, let it drip, and then just use that extra water just to make it a little bit lighter. So the more water that you add, and you go back and add more water, the lighter it will be. Now, if you want to do your skin tone, I do have a brown. We are all shades of brown. Now, what you could do is dip, let it drip, dry off since you're using a different color, and then dip, let it drip, brown, swirl a few times. Now, for me, this is a little bit dark. I'm a little bit lighter than this. If I want it lighter, I have to add more what? I hope you said water. So if you're doing your skin today, just keep adding water until it's about right. I think I still need a little bit lighter, so I'm gonna dip, let it drip, and then just keep going because you have to work fast. This is drying. So I'm going to keep adding water until I get it the right color. So it's not perfect and I didn't finish today, but before we start, I wanted to let you know that if you ever have a goopy mess full of water, you can always take the paper towel and get it before it dries. It happened right down here, so I don't really want red on my neck, so I'm gonna take this and just kind of give it a little kiss with the paper towel. But look, some of that red's still there. If you have time, you can take the water and try erasing it. So just adding some water and then taking your paper towel. Sometimes that can get rid of it. It didn't get rid of it totally, but now it'll give me a little bit of time to go back in, add some brown, and make it look a little bit nicer than it did. When you are all done, make sure that you take your placemat and your painting. We're gonna go over to the drying rack. Do we put it on the top or the bottom? I hope you said bottom because I don't like it when I see people fighting over the top. I just think it's silly. Once your area is cleaned and you've finished everything, you can use a whiteboard, you can use free draw, you could read a book, or you could even help a friend today.